What are you watching?
TikTok. It's this new method, hair extension veil. I swear to God, every time I go on TikTok or Instagram, there's like another video on there with like a new technology. Even for me, I've been doing extensions over 13 years and it's so overwhelming. So imagine, babe, like if a client was to see that or like another hairdresser, it's so confusing. Okay. So this inspired me now to make a video today breaking down all these different technologies, because like I said, every time I go online, there's a new extension technique. This one, it's Angel Veil Weft. And for me, I feel like I'm pretty well versed in extensions, and even then it's still overwhelming because you've got your Angel Veil, your Butterfly, your V-Light, your CombLine, Genius Weft, Nano Rings. And for someone that has been in extensions for over 13 years, it is so overwhelming. So now I can only imagine how confusing it is for a client or even another hairstylist trying to decide which method is actually going to be right for them, because it is so difficult to know what is going to be good without causing damage, slippage, discomfort, or even wasting money on the wrong technique, because hair extensions are a huge investment. So you never want to buy something, install it, and then when they come for their maintenance, you realize that that method is just not working. Because here's the truth, not every hair extension method is going to be right for every person. The method that works beautifully on someone with thick hair might be completely wrong for someone with fine hair. And the method that might look invisible online in real life might stick out like a sore thumb. And just because something's trended on TikTok does not mean that it's going to be the best option behind the chair. So in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down the most popular hair extension methods and the ones that I actually use behind the chair, whether it's your tape-ins, your different weft technologies, your K-tips, your I-tips, nano rings, V-light, CombLine, and more. What I'm going to do is I will explain how each method works, the pros, the cons, who it's best for, who should avoid it, realistic maintenance, pricing, what to look for when you're buying the hair with your supplier. So whether you're thinking about getting hair extensions yourself or you're a hairstylist trying to choose the right method for your client, this video is going to make sure everything is much clearer for you. But before we get into it, my name is Sam and I've been doing hair extensions for over 13 years. I am a hair extension specialist, salon owner, and I'm an educator as well as working behind the chair. So if you want deeper, more advanced education, make sure that you check out my YouTube members section where I share more in-depth tutorial, placement tips, troubleshooting, and professional hair extension training. And if you haven't liked and subscribed to my YouTube already, please do. And you can always find me on Instagram, xsamhair, and on TikTok, extensionistla. Don't forget to subscribe because I post honest, real-life hair extension education for both clients and stylists. So now, without further ado, let's break down every method, and I want to help you figure out which one actually makes sense, because every time I go on the internet, there's a new extension, there's a new brand, and it is so confusing. Now, let's take a look at all of those different hair extension technologies and the ones that I actually use behind the chair day in, day out. I also wanted to cover all of the different wefts as well within the weft family, because there is going to be a good weft and a bad weft depending on that client. You want to make sure that you're choosing something that is going to work with your client, not against your client. Okay, let's start with the simplest method of them all, in my opinion, and one that I really, really love and I still use in the salon. It's going to be your tape-in hair extensions. Tape-in hair extensions are fantastic, and there is and will always be a time and a place for these. I love tapes and I just love how flat they lie to the client's head. And my most favorite part about this method is how quick and easy they are to install. I think a lot of people shy away from tapes because of the maintenance, but honestly, once you get that maintenance down, it's super, super easy. Tape-in hair extensions are great because they're going to offer up and down movement. So 180-degree movement, up and down. So your client can wear them with a high pony and a low pony. Who is this method right for? I would say there's a lot of people out there that can benefit from tape-in extensions. Even those clients with finer hair can wear them, because within that tape extension, you do have the option of doing a single-sided tape. So usually when I'm installing these, and I do have a full video on the tape install on my YouTube, you can check that out. So when I'm installing them, I will sandwich them. So you're going to have a tape on top and a tape underneath. If someone has finer hair, I will opt for a single-sided tape. So I do a tape on top, and then underneath I just do a single tape adhesion. And then that way it's going to keep it really lightweight, because on average your tape sandwich is going to be about 5 grams of hair, which is a lot of hair. Who is this method good for? It is going to be great for people that want a full coverage method, because it is a hybrid method, I would say, with a tape. It's not quite a weft and it's not quite an individual. It sits in a league of its own. So it's good for someone that wants the best of both worlds, but they still want to achieve really good full coverage. With your tape-in extensions, I would say most people are going to wear about 100 to 150 grams, which is 2 to 3 packs. And it's going to take you about 30 minutes to maximum an hour, hour and a half to install a full head of tape-in extensions. Tape-in extensions are reusable, and you can come in for your maintenance every 4 to 8 weeks. I would say that with tapes, your 6 to 7 week mark is going to be the sweet spot. If you have really thick hair, these are going to be great. And if you have like a really blunt short bob and you want to achieve really good coverage, these are going to be great too. They're also good for people that just want to add in a little bit of volume really quickly. And even those clients with finer hair, you can use it on. So I would say this is pretty much a blanket method where you can use it on most people, fine, medium, thick hair. The only person that I would avoid using it on is someone with incredibly fine hair, almost see-through delicate hair. Those kind of people, you're going to be looking at an individual, specifically a K-tip. That leads us really nicely into our K-tip hair extensions. Let's get into our individuals, and I'm going to start with those K-tips. If you've seen my previous videos, then you will know that I love K-tip hair extensions. And again, check out those videos, because I have lots where I'm showing you how to install them, the technicalities, and also that full head video of the K-tip hair extensions. Who are K-tips good for? I'm going to be super honest. Everyone and anyone. You can install a K-tip on people with the finest, most delicate, fragile hair. And you can also install a K-tip on someone with super thick, super dense hair. Where I would use a K-tip on someone with finer hair is I would go in and customize those bonds. K-tips, you have that customizability factor where you can make these hair extensions as small as possible. So if you are looking for a method where you get that true one-on-one density match, that's where you're going to introduce that K-tip extension. I also like to use K-tips as fillers. Maybe if I've done a full head placement of tapes or wefts and I feel like there's a bit of a drop off here, that's when I can go in and use that K-tip, because with your K-tip you can truly push the boundaries. I will put them as low as I need, as high as I need, as close to the hairline as I need, and I know I'm not going to cause damage because I'm able to customize those bonds and make them as small as I need. I mentioned earlier that you can use them on someone even with really, really thick hair, but bear in mind, if you are installing them on someone with really thick hair, it's going to be very time consuming and it is going to need and require a lot of hair. However, it's totally possible. With your K-tip hair extensions, they are great. However, they're not really reusable. You would have seen in previous videos that I will show you how to retip them. But for me, it's just not something that I do all the time, because I feel like it's a little bit of a waste of time. And when you look at the pricing and how cost effective it is to retip, a lot of the time it makes sense just to order new hair every time. If you are looking for someone that wants a method that they can reuse, I would probably avoid K-tips and look into something like an I-tip or a nano, because that is going to give you the individual. However, you have that reusability factor. Before we move into the nano and the I-tips, one thing that I did want to mention about those K-tips and who it is good for is someone that wants to go longer in between maintenance appointments, because K-tips don't require any maintenance. So I will have clients that will go 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 months without having to see me again. For that reason, it is a really good method for clients that are visiting you from out of town, because they don't have to come in every 4 weeks for a move up or a maintenance. That now leads us really nicely into my 2 favorite individuals that I can reuse. And that is going to be your I-tip hair extension and your nano hair extension. So the reason that I'm holding these both up together is because they're really, really similar. They both are like a K-tip, however you can reuse them because you're not heating them into the hair. I think sometimes that's why people get scared with that K-tip, because you're using heat. With this method, it is totally heat free. You're using a bead to adhere it to the hair. Your I-tip hair extensions almost look like a little shoelace on the top. And what you do is you slide this into the hair, and then with your bead, non-silicone lined, you secure it. What I will say about I-tips is they are great. However, I wouldn't install this on someone with really, really fine hair, purely because it is more visible. So where you have that bead, it definitely becomes a little bit bulkier than a K-tip. So someone with finer hair may not benefit from this method as well as someone with that medium to thick density hair. And that's purely because you're going to see that bead. You're also going to be more likely to experience slipping with someone with fine hair as well. So I would say with your I-tip extension, you're going to get better results out of it on someone that has medium to thick density hair. If you did want to use an I-tip on someone with finer hair, that's when I would introduce that nano hair extension. I'm going to open this up because I really wanted to show you that tip of the nano and how it looks. I install these on clients with fine hair, and I've had amazing results. Let me tell you about a recent client. So she came to me and she had I-tips, and we've just been installing and reinstalling those I-tips on her for about a year. It was time for her to get new hair, and Covey came out with these nanos and she loved them. She just came to me for her move up and she said, I've never been able to go this long with my I-tip extensions and not have any slip. When she came for her nano maintenance, she hadn't lost a single hair extension, and she even noted that you couldn't even see them. As they began to grow out, they still looked just as invisible as the first day we installed them. If you want a reusable individual and your client has finer hair, that's when I'd use the nano. But you can still use these on people with thick hair, medium hair, fine hair, and that's the beauty of the nano. What makes these a little bit different is the tip of the nano is super small. So for that reason, you're using a minute, super tiny bead. The bead is silicone lined, and I think that definitely helps with that slipping factor. I haven't experienced any slipping with the nanos, and I definitely think it comes down to the bead. One thing that I'm going to denote as well is you cannot cut these to size. So your I-tips and your nanos, you're not cutting them down to size. So if you do have a client and they have finer hair, you're definitely going to want to take a bigger section to make sure that you have enough hair to accommodate for the weight of that extension. Who would I use a nano or an I-tip on? Someone that loves the idea of a K-tip but really wants to reuse it and doesn't want a heat application. So if they don't want any heat in that application, that's going to be your BFF because you're just using that bead. Now, let's get into wefts. You guys know wefts are my tried and true. Wefts are probably my most popular method behind the chair. And also whenever I'm teaching in-person classes, these are so popular. I do find that people really want to learn weft, specifically Genius Weft. I want to break down now all the different weft technologies and when and where you should use them and who they're going to be right for. Before I get into Weft, I did want to note, if there's any questions that you have as I work through it, please feel free to comment it down below, and I always reply to comments. So if there's anything that you are like, Sam, you missed this out, or I just have a question about this, leave it in the comment section and I'll reply to you. And if there's a follow-up video that I need to make, then I'll go ahead and make that as well. Now, let's get into our Wefts. I'm going to start with the OG. I'm going to start with the OG, and the OG is going to be this. It is your machine weft. If you've been doing weft extensions for a long time, then you'll know that this is going to be your OG. It is that volume weft where it is triple stacked, layered, super thick, super bulky, but it's going to give you a lot of density. Your volume weft is great because you get a lot of thickness really, really quickly. However, one thing that I'm going to note, they are really, really thick and bulky here, and they do have what I call return hair or a weft mustache. So that return hair for some clients is itchy, irritating, annoying, and what you need to know is the spine of the weft holds on to a lot of moisture. Who is this going to be great for? Someone with really thick hair that wants a lot of coverage really quickly. This is going to be perfect for them. Maybe someone that even likes a lot of volume up top. Again, this is going to be great. However, I do think that there is so much more weft technology out there that has come along and advanced that is going to be way better for a lot of clients. I don't want to totally just avoid talking about this weft because I don't really use it, because there's still always going to be a time and a place for it. And one thing that's good to know about this is it's definitely going to be a little bit more affordable than your other wefts, because the install time is so much quicker and so much easier, because a lot of the time when you're working with this weft technology, you are just doing a standard row. Another weft technology that I'm going to touch on really quick, because again, it's worth noting because there is always going to be a time and a place for this, and that's going to be your flex weft. So with the flex weft, it is a little bit thinner than your volume weft. And what I will say about your flex weft is it definitely doesn't hold on to as much moisture, and it lays a little bit flatter to the head. You still have that return hair though, so you still have the return hair, but why people like it is because it's a little bit flatter. Again, it's going to be a great option for someone with medium to thick hair that wants a lot of volume, a lot of coverage, and doesn't really mind if they can do a hidden row or not, because you're just installing it as a standard row. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't find myself reaching for a flex weft or a volume weft anymore. If I do want to use these kind of wefts, what I will use is a volume genius weft. So check out my other videos because I have a volume genius weft install from start to finish. And honestly, I much prefer it because what you get with your volume genius weft is you get that genius weft technology without this mustache, and you don't have to stack and layer anything. So if you just want a really quick install where you're doing a standard row, what I would advise you reach for is the volume genius weft, because it's a lot more comfortable and it doesn't hold on to that moisture as much as your flex or your volume weft. However, that being said, you do what works for you. But I will tell you, my honest opinion is that volume genius is what I will reach for if I want to just do that quick install that creates a lot of thickness, a lot of density within, an hour time frame. Moving on, and I feel like every time I'm moving on to a new weft, it's kind of like ever evolving. This is just how the weft technology has evolved over the years. When I first started doing wefts, there was only that volume weft available on the market, and then it's just evolved. And now what you're going to see is those hand-tied wefts. So I remember a few years ago, hand-tied wefts blew everyone out of the water, and everyone just loved that weft technology because look how thin they are. Super thin, super lightweight, and it is a weft technology that is suitable for even the finest of hair clients because you now have the option to customize it. You can stack as little or as many hand-tied wefts as you want on a row. One thing that is worth noting with your hand-tied wefts is you cannot cut them. If you cut your hand-tied weft, what happens is you can see these little tether threads. That is tied at the end, and it's what holds all of those hairs together. If you cut that hand-tied weft, it is going to shed and you're going to be left with a hot mess. So that is the only downside to the hand-tied weft. Another thing is, with your hand tied, some of them still have that mustache at the top, which again holds onto water, but not as much as your volume, your flex, or even your volume genius. Super lightweight, super comfortable, but I don't use these anymore. I use a genius weft. Right, with your genius weft and your hand-tied weft, you're installing them pretty much the same way. However, with these, what I would find is the hand-tied, I'd always be having to fold them because I can't cut them. So then if this is too long or too short for my row, I have to kind of go in, stagger them, fold them, and it gets a little complicated. With your genius weft, you can cut them. Your genius weft is everything that you're going to love about a hand-tied, except you have that freedom to truly customize the length of that row. Your genius weft doesn't have any return hair, doesn't have a weft mustache. It also has this polyurethane spine, meaning that you can cut it and it's not going to shed. Another thing about that spine is it doesn't absorb moisture, so it dries so much quicker than even a hand-tied. Dries much quicker than a hand-tied, a flex, a volume genius, whatever weft you're installing. This is the best weft, in my opinion, that is out there on the market. Your genius weft technology is so much more advanced, and one thing that I love about them is I can install them on fine hair, medium hair, thick hair, and you have less points of attachment. When I'm talking about attachment points, I mean how many attachment points are on the head. With this, you're probably going to have maybe like 30 attachment points, because I'm doing about 2 rows on average for a full head, and per row is going to have about 15 beads. Rather than with an individual, you have them all over the head. This, it's like a veil on the head, so you just have 2 rows and you're good to go. And if you're just doing a volume placement, 1 row. Super quick, super easy. Clients love it. It's a reusable method. You can move these up, you can reinstall them, you can wear your hair up with them, you can wear your hair down with them, and with your genius weft, you're also able to do a hidden row, meaning you're not going to see any attachment points because you're hiding the bead. Genius wefts are my favorite, and that's why you see me use them time and time again on my channel. And most of my in-person education that is wefts is going to be that genius weft, because for me, it's just the go of weft hair extensions. That is the full breakdown of the most popular hair extension method. I cover tapes, weft, K-tips, I-tips, nanos. If you are also interested in the CombLine and the V-Light, definitely check out my videos on that, because I have a full video of each method. And with those, you can choose any hair from any technology, because you're cutting off the top and installing it. With hair extensions, the key is choosing the right method for the right person. Hair extensions should not damage your hair. When they're installed correctly, maintained properly, match the client's natural hair and lifestyle, they're going to work with them, not against them. Most hair extension problems come from one of the 3 things. It's either the wrong method, the wrong application, or the wrong aftercare. So if you're a client, book a proper consultation before choosing a method. I always get asked this in the comments, what method is right for me? And it's so hard without seeing your hair. So find a stylist, go in, get a consultation, and you can go from there. And if you're a hairstylist, don't just learn one method and try and make it work for everyone. The more methods you understand, the more you can better serve your clients. If you found this video helpful, make sure you subscribe, like this video, and comment down below which method you want me to dive deeper into for that next tutorial. For more advanced education, check out my YouTube member section. I share a lot of in-depth tutorials. I talk about placement, maintenance, pricing, troubleshooting, and professional tips. And I keep it really, really cost effective for you guys. Follow me on Instagram as well. It's xsamhair, and my TikTok is extensionistla. And I'm also going to leave a link to my favorite tools and products and suppliers. I've got my Amazon storefront on here, and I also use a lot of Hair Made Easy and L Pro. My discount code with them is SamHines10, and most of the hair in this video is my favorite brand, Covey. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.
That's a wrap for another day.
Another day, another dollar. Oh, I'm pooped. So. Who is this method good for?
Stop saying so.
All right.